Have you ever really stopped to wonder why? Why them? In a world of 8 billion people, in a sea of faces in a crowded coffee shop, on an endless scroll of dating profiles, how is it that one person can suddenly step out of the noise and feel like the center of your universe? We have beautiful words for this feeling. We call it destiny, fate. We say it was written in the stars. We romanticize the idea of finding the one, a soulmate custom, made for us by cosmic design. It's a comforting narrative, isn't it? That our greatest love was a story already finished, and we just had to walk onto the right page. It absolves us of the terrifying weight of choice and wraps the whole bewildering process in a magical, shimmering light. But what if I told you that the choice was always yours? What if the force pulling you toward them wasn't some grand cosmic plan, but a deeply personal, psychological one? What if that profound feeling of coming home is actually the work of an invisible architect inside you? A silent artist who has been sketching a blueprint for love since the day you were born. Understanding this doesn't strip the magic from love. It reveals a much deeper, more personal magicone that lives inside of you. By understanding why you choose the person you love, you begin to understand the most powerful and hidden parts of yourself. This journey isn't about second-guessing your heart. It's about learning to read its code. It's about moving from a love of chance to a love of choice, a love that isn't just about finding happiness, but about consciously building it. Many of us put our faith in serendipity, in letting the universe guide our hearts. Yet, psychology, especially the field of psychoanalysis, offers a compelling alternative. It suggests that the person you fall in love with is not a winning lottery ticket, but a specific key cut for a very specific lock you might not even know you carry. Your subconscious, that vast, powerful wilderness of memories, desires, and forgotten feelings, is the one in the driver's seat, constantly nudging you toward a person who fits its hidden script. There is no external force making the choice for you. The choice is an echo of your own inner world. Before we unfold this intricate blueprint of your heart, I want to take a moment to speak to those of you who might feel like you're on the sidelines of love right now. To those who are single, perhaps wondering if your own blueprint is missing a page, or if your internal compass is broken, let me offer a small piece of scientifically backed encouragement. Just keep putting good out into the world. Research consistently shows that our perception of someone's physical attractiveness goes up significantly once we get to know them and see them as a genuinely kind, decent human being. The warmth of a good heart has a way of making a face truly beautiful. And for those of you navigating the tricky landscape of the friend zone, remember that the old saying, "nice guys finish last," is a fundamental misreading of the situation. It's not that kindness loses. It's that kindness combined with passivity often goes unseen. The world doesn't just need good people. It needs good people who are brave enough to be seen. Sometimes, the only thing separating you from a different chapter is the courage to take a single step forward, to speak your truth, and to shift from being a quiet bystander to a confident participant in your own life. So, how does this powerful selection process actually work? How does your psyche, with its entire complex history, land on one specific person? Psychological theories generally point to two major forces that carve the path of attraction. The first is psychoanalytic, rooted in the deep past, in the echoes of our childhood that create our template for what love is supposed to feel like. The second is a more conscious process of filtering, where we learn from our relationship history, sorting people into yes and no piles, until we find someone who just feels right. But here's the secret. That feeling of rightness is almost always dictated by that first, deeper, subconscious force. Let's start our journey there, with that foundational idea. Our past is the invisible architect of our romantic present. Deep in your unconscious, you are always searching for a reflection. You see a glimmer of yourself in someone else. In the simplest terms, you might fall for someone because you want to be more like them. They possess a quality, a talent, a way of moving through the world that you secretly admire or have always wished for yourself. But the most powerful blueprint of all, the master plan for our internal map of love, is drawn from the relationship we had with our parents or primary caregivers. They were our first teachers in the school of love. The dynamic we shared with them, the level of safety we felt, the way affection was shown or held back, creates the foundational prototype of what love is supposed to feel like. This first love doesn't just show you how to love another person, it fundamentally shapes your belief about what love even is. In psychoanalytic thought, this process of identifying with another person is often split into two categories. The first is called Narcissistic Identification. Now, narcissism is a loaded word, but here it simply means related to the self. You love someone because, on some level, they are you. Perhaps they mirror who you are right now, sharing your exact sense of humor, your political views, your taste in movies. It feels validating and comfortable, like looking in a mirror and loving the reflection. Or maybe they reflect who you used to be, reminding you of a younger, more idealistic or ambitious version of yourself, reigniting a spark you thought had gone out. Most powerfully, you might love them because they are who you want to be. They embody a potential you've always felt within yourself but have never activated. If you've always harbored a secret desire to be an artist, you might find yourself completely captivated by a painter or musician. If you feel disorganized in your own life, you might be incredibly drawn to someone who is meticulously planned and ambitious. They aren't just a partner, they're a living symbol of your own latent potential. If this idea of a psychological blueprint is already switching on a light bulb for you, if a new perspective is starting to click into place, I warmly encourage you to take a moment to subscribe to Decode Explained. We journey through these intricate landscapes of the mind together, seeking clarity and healing, one video at a time. By joining our community, you're taking a conscious step toward decoding your own heart. The second type of identification is known as Anaclitic Identification, or what you could call attachment-based identification. This is when you fall for someone because they feel familiar, evoking the specific brand of care you received from a parent or caregiver. This is the psychological root of the cliché that men marry women like their mothers, or women are drawn to men who remind them of their fathers. It's less about a physical resemblance and more about the feeling they trigger. They make you feel safe, seen, or cared for in a way that resonates with your earliest, most primal experiences of being loved. The way they listen, the specific way they offer a hug, the very scent of their skinnet can trigger a deep, subconscious sense of home in your nervous system. This person feels right because they feel known. They fit the template for safety that was stamped onto your soul before you even had words for it. It's an incredibly powerful magnetic pull back to the emotional comfort of your origins. Then there's the potent and often treacherous dynamic of falling in love with an ideal. You're suddenly swept off your feet by a blind, all-consuming passion for someone because, in the moment they appeared, they seemed to be the perfect solution to an inner problem. If you felt invisible, they showered you with attention. If you felt chaotic, they were a calming presence. The danger here, a truth that can be tough to swallow, is that you may have fallen in love with the idea of this person, not the actual, complex, flawed human being. You've projected your needs onto them, turning them into a movie screen for your own desires. This kind of love is as beautiful and fragile as a soap bubble. It shimmers with impossible colors, but the second it bumps up against the sharp edge of reality, the moment they express a need, a flaw, or an opinion that doesn't fit your perfect script, the bubble bursts. You're left not just with disappointment, but with a profound and painful disillusionment. mourning the loss of a person who never really existed outside of your own head. It's a powerful reminder of the adage, you may not be able to choose who you fall in love with, but you always have the power to decide if you'll stay. Now, let's explore a fascinating paradox in human attraction, the magnetic pull of the opposite. You meet someone, and they feel like a whole new country to explore. Their mind works in ways you can't predict. Their life experiences are a world away from your own. Their tastes are completely alien, and you are utterly captivated. They feel like the missing piece of your puzzle, the perfect complement who can fill in all your blanks. This is the classic opposites attract story. Loving them is an adventure, a state of constant discovery. You're drawn to them because they represent the parts of yourself you haven't developed, or as the psychologist Carl Jung might say, they represent your shadow self. Our shadow contains all the pieces of our personality we've disowned, or repressed: our spontaneity, our anger, our vulnerability, our wildness. We are magnetically drawn to people who live out these exiled parts of ourselves because, in their presence, we feel more complete. They offer a tantalizing glimpse of who we could be if we were just a little braver, a little different. Yet, this path of opposites, while thrilling, is often the most difficult to sustain. The very differences that once created sparks can later become sources of chronic friction. On the flip side of this is the deep, abiding comfort of similarity. This is the psychological truth behind the idea that the most stable relationships are often between people with shared backgrounds. It might sound unromantic or even classist, but the psychological data is strong. You meet someone and feel an instant, effortless rapport, perhaps because you share a similar education level, social circle, core values, or sense of humor. The renowned relationship researcher Helen Fisher has noted that while we may be ignited by mystery, we are sustained by similarity. Study after study on long-term marital satisfaction shows that couples with shared core values have significantly lower divorce rates. Why? Because while loving an opposite can feel like a fiery adventure, building a life with someone similar is like building a house. You're both working from the same blueprint. When you love someone who is fundamentally different, you can find your self-esteem slowly eroding, feeling constantly misunderstood because they simply don't speak your language. But loving someone who is similar provides a deep, continuous sense of validation. There's a quiet ease, a feeling of, we get each other, a sense that you're navigating life with a shared GPS. This brings us to a more pragmatic, though perhaps less poetic, theory of attraction. Social exchange theory. This perspective suggests that, on a subconscious level, we are constantly running a quiet cost-benefit analysis. We are looking for a relationship that feels like a good investment with a high return. We seek partners who bring tangible and intangible assets to our lives. This isn't as cold and calculating as it sounds. The benefits are often deeply emotional, unwavering support, intellectual partnership, shared laughter. But they can also be practical financial security, social mobility, a partner who helps you achieve your goals. From this viewpoint, you love someone because they offer stability, because their strengths balance out your weaknesses, because being with them creates a net positive in the ledger of your life. It is a partnership, a strategic alliance between two people who choose to build a better life together than they ever could apart. Understanding these underlying forces becomes absolutely critical when we see how our unhealed wounds can hijack our selection process. Our unresolved issues don't just affect our behavior in relationships. They dictate who we are drawn to in the first place, often leading us right back to the scene of our original emotional crime. For example, a person with a tendency toward high drama and blame, someone who is deeply suspicious and defensive, will often subconsciously choose a partner who gives them a reason to be suspicious. They will find someone who, in some subtle way, confirms their deep-seated belief that people can't be trusted, and the relationship devolves into a self-fulfilling prophecy of conflict and accusation. They aren't fighting with their partner, they're fighting with a ghost from their childhood. Similarly, think of the person who is emotionally distant, who has built a fortress around their heart. They might seem cool and detached, incapable of expressing their inner world. These individuals often find it nearly impossible to receive or return love, not because they don't feel it, but because the language of intimacy is foreign and terrifying. This often stems from a childhood where emotional expression was punished or ignored, so they learn to shut down to survive. They may choose partners who are incredibly emotional and demanding, creating a painful push-pull dynamic of pursuit and retreat, because that familiar chaos feels safer than the terrifying vulnerability of real, quiet connection. They are unconsciously replaying a broken record, hoping for a new song but using the same scratched vinyl. So, where does all this leave us? What do we do with the knowledge that our hearts aren't just whimsical agents of fate, but complex instruments playing a song that was written long ago? This isn't a reason for despair. It's a call for consciousness. This is a tool for reflection, a mirror to hold up to your own relationships, past and present. If you are in a happy, healthy partnership, this understanding can exponentially increase your gratitude. You can see that your partner isn't just someone you got lucky with. They are someone your heart, in its deepest wisdom, recognized. They resonated with the most hopeful and healthy parts of your blueprint. Your connection is a beautiful fusion of subconscious knowing and conscious choice. But if you find yourself in a repeating pattern of pain, if your love life is a source of confusion and unhappiness, this knowledge is your key to freedom. Look closely at the people you've chosen. Look at the dance between you. How does it echo the stories of your past? What unmet need did you desperately hope they would fill? How are they a reflection of an unhealed part of you? Recognizing the pattern is the first, most powerful step you can take to change it. You are not doomed to repeat your history. You always have the power to walk off the stage of a play that is causing you pain. You can choose to thank your old blueprint for the lessons it taught you, and then you can consciously decide to draw a new one. A blueprint that leads not to a familiar heartache, but to a new and chosen destination. A love that is not an echo of what was, but a promise of what can be. The ultimate journey isn't to find the perfect person who fits your old unconscious design. It's to become the architect of your own heart, so you can consciously choose a partner and build a love based not on fate, but on the brave and beautiful choice to draw a new map together.